How many people here love money? I know I certainly do. You really can't do much without it. And I know that your state and local governments are always trying to find complicated ways to add additional money to their economies. Well, I can tell you right now that there's a state near you where they are planning to add $60 million to their economy. Well, in a May 2018 Incline article, Colin Deppen describes Pennsylvania governor proposing the legislation of the recreational use of marijuana will add $60 million to their tax. It will add $60 million in tax revenue. Now you might think, oh, I don't live there, who cares? Well, these kinds of plans have already been in use, and they are creating similar amounts of profit. Yet there are still government officials that believe that this is a law and should stay as it is. For example, in a April 2018 Roanoke Times article, Maurice Fisher states that most public policy decisions are made based on the generation of the state. So one can assume that Virginia legislators have not chosen to legalize marijuana because they have decided that it creates more revenue by criminalizing marijuana users. Since there have been large amounts of incarcerations due to the use of marijuana, it has caused an upbringing of people to question that law. And I agree. I intend to question the current policy of the recreational use of marijuana. I want to first start off by explaining to you how the current marijuana laws have been affecting you. Even if you haven't used marijuana, the current laws are still affecting your pocket. Since everybody here are tax-paying Americans, government officials need to have funds to enforce the law. In my research of how marijuana can affect the nation and state's economies, I found that allowing the recreational use of marijuana will increase the state and national economies. In a 2018 Washington Post article, Katie Zimmerman said that the legalization of marijuana nationwide would create at least $132 billion in tax revenue and would create more than 100 million jobs in the United States in the next decade. Now, this is through an entirely new tax revenue system. Zimmerman stated that if it was completely legal in all 50 states, then it would at least combine for $131.8 billion in tax revenue between the years of 2017 and 2018, in 2017 and 2025. Now, this is just nationally. Earlier, I spoke about how the legalization of marijuana will affect the state locally. What Deppen described was just a proposal budget for the tax revenue will definitely provide. Yet, in the same article, Pennsylvania Auditor General Eugene De Pascal said that tax revenue can provide upwards of $200 million. Now, I feel as though Pennsylvania officials will be helping out their state and their people a lot by passing this bill. The next point I would like to make is how allowing the recreational use of marijuana will decrease the large amounts of incarcerations due to marijuana. I believe that the marijuana laws have been unjust and because they have been outrageously costly and morally wrong. In a July 2014 New York Times article, Jesse Wegman describes how a 45-year-old truck driver and a father was stopped because he had small amounts of marijuana in his pocket. He was given 13 years in jail for that. You guys believe this is fair? I don't think so. Wegman goes on to state that in 2010 only in New York of 2010, more than 59,000 arrests have been made, and nationally from 2001 to 2010, more than 8.2 million marijuana arrests have been made. Yet from these arrests, only 9 out of 10 of them were found as possession. As you can see, law enforcement were extremely preoccupied by marijuana arrests. Not only do they cost Not only do these arrests are costly in time, Wegman explains that it takes hours to book and arrest a suspect. Overall, from 2001 to 2010, it cost $3.6 billion to enforce this law. I hope you see now that these laws are not fair to the American people. After taking the accounts of my earlier points, such as the increase in economy and decrease in incarcerations, I believe that there's one more point that you should take account. It's your health. I believe the best way to compare this illegal drug is to compare it to a supposedly very harmful drug, which is legal, alcohol. I was researching how many overdose deaths were there from marijuana, and I found that on the drug fact sheet of the Drug Enforcement Administration, which recorded 0 deaths from overdose from marijuana. Yet, in a 2015 article from the Centers of Disease and Control Prevention, it says that an average of 6 people died from alcohol poisoning each day. That's about 3 to 4 people dying every day. The difference between no deaths and 6 deaths is an astonishing number. Also, a poll was done in April of 2017 by Marist College Institute of Public Opinion to see how many people have tried marijuana and its relationship and how it affects their relationship and lifestyles. They said that 72% of these people that took the poll thought that alcohol provided a more dangerous threat to their body than marijuana. While I present to you these facts, I hope that I'm not trying to say that you should try marijuana, but what I'm fighting for is that people have used this illegal drug and said that it's safer to use than using alcohol, the legal drug alcohol. As I conclude my speech, it's important that people know what marijuana. It's important for people to know and educate themselves about the benefits and risks of marijuana. This good or this drug can benefit people all over the nation, and as citizens, we need to speak up and fight what's right. Currently, the government does not want to listen to us, but there are many methods that we can use to voice ourselves for this law to be passed. You should please contact your government officials and you can either start a petition or just speak your mind on the internet. As more people fight against this law, we can create more buzz that can create the change for this law. Thank you.